Hello, and welcome to another En Rouge unit of the week. And today we're taking a look at the IKV 103. The Infantry Cannon Wagon 72 was a Swedish assault gun which entered into service in the early 50s. Essentially, the Swedes needed an assault gun because they're using towed guns before, and so they designed a very simple casemate structure tank made by Landsberg, which only weighed just over 8 tons. The original run, the 72 model, was armed with a 75mm cannon, but in the later 50s they would upgrade it to the IKV 102, which would replace it with a 105mm gun which could fire heat shells, and then later on they would upgrade it to the IKV 103, which mainly was just an engine improvement. These would remain in Swedish service all the way up until the 70s. In-game, the IKV 103 is a 10-point vehicle available to Sweden, and it has a single weapon. And that weapon is the L28 cannon. It does shoot heat rounds, and it has 20 of them. It has a pretty pitiful range of 1.9 kilometers, very pitiful accuracy, an AP power, and its high explosive power is somewhat decent at least, with a standard 3 HE for a tank cannon, and a pretty standard rate of fire of 7 rounds a minute. Down to miscellaneous stats, it has 2 frontal armor, turret side, 1 at back, and 1 on top. It has a small size with poor optics and a very poor speed of 45 kilometers off-road and 110 on the road. Has poor stealth, which is quite funny considering its poor size, with a fuel autonomy of 250 kilometers, and it is type restricted to mechanized armored support and motorized decks. So in battle, there's not really much to say. It's a bad unit. And that's really all I have to say. Okay, real talk, I'll explain a little bit more. So the cannon isn't very good, and that's really its main weapon here. It has poor range, really poor accuracy of 20%, and at least it has heat rounds, so it's always doing some damage, but it's not a whole lot of damage. I mean, if we compare this to the Finnish Stug, I mean, it's just such a much better unit. Yes, the range is worse and the gun is a bit worse. Well, quite a bit worse because it's not heat. It actually has some good fire support capabilities as it's a bit more accurate. And it also has a machine gun. And honestly, not having a machine gun on this thing is a pretty big hindrance. Essentially, just compared to other 10-point units, this thing is actually overpriced. It really should be a 5-point unit with just how bad it really is. I mean, the main thing with vehicles like this is that you can spam a lot of them, and you do get a lot of them. But the problem with spamming a lot of them is that they run out of fuel very quickly. They can barely make it to the front line before, well, running out of gas. So they essentially turned into armored pillboxes. And they're not a very good armored pillbox. There's barely any armor on the thing to begin with. But it's just not a good unit. I don't really have anything nice to say about it, apart from the fact it looks kind of funky. And I say it's cheap, but really it should be cheaper. I think Eugene should be giving you points if you bring your unit out, to be entirely honest. But hey, this is Wargame, this is Eugene Systems. They add units which are bad because the Swedes use this weapon. So it's gonna be in the bloody game. And well, I'm going to leave it off at that. This has been another En Rouge unit of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as usual, please just take it easy.